Number 32 podcast, live back in action as the dog is barking, ringing the bell for us. We are ready to go. My name is Jason Fearman, a.k.a. the Sports Prophet, a.k.a. the Smart Guy. And Kenny Culp, the smart ass, is with us. As always, man, glad to have you here. How you doing?
Pretty good. I have to admit, man, this is the first year I've done a show the whole season, and I gotta admit, I feel like a rookie when I haven't played that many games in my career yet. And
Yeah, you're doing
faded.
well.
Yeah, not bad. I felt like I faded there at the end, so apologize.
Nah. You are definitely doing well, my friend. There's no doubt about it.
I'm just gonna fix this light behind me real quick. Go ahead, I can hear you. I'm right here.
All right, all good. Well, a good announcement that we do have. We're going to have Leroy Butler from the Green Bay Packers, who spent his entire career there. He's a Hall of Famer, a Super Bowl champion. That's next week at this time exactly. So that's going to be big, man. Getting to talk to a Super Bowl champion to see how he prepared, getting into the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's really cool. I can't wait to talk about that. I can't wait to talk to him about that, as a matter of fact. It's going to be great. So we got a few things to do today. We're going to go over some hot topics in the league, like quarterbacks, where they should go, head coaching changes real quick we'll go over. We have the NFL Honors, which is this weekend. So we'll do the main categories like MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, so on and so forth. And we'll touch a little bit on the games from last week as we look forward to the Super Bowl. But the full Super Bowl preview will be coming up next week with Mr. Leroy Butler. So we'll have it all. But Kenny, if you're ready to rock and roll, I got a few questions for you.
All right.
Obviously, the Steelers are not going to stick with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Not both of them. So who should they stick with?
Well, if they're going to pick one, I'm guessing it's Russell Wilson. But I don't know. I don't want either of them if I'm them, to be honest with you. If they have to keep one, and it's me, I guess I'm going to take Justin Fields. I saw what Russell Wilson can do, and so I'd rather give the young kid a chance. I feel like he's got better legs under him, and he can always give you that threat where he could possibly run the ball if you have to.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Out of the two, Justin Fields would be the better option, so I definitely agree. I mean, he was doing well last year. They were 4-2 when he came out. And his touchdown to interception ratio was like 5-1. I mean, it wasn't really quite impressive, but he scored, I think, 5 touchdowns on the ground with his feet. So very capable. And the offense moved better along with him there. So I think that would be the way to go. And again, he's younger, obviously. So I would let that kid, give it a shot. Let him be the number one starter going into camp. Get rid of Russell Wilson. Let him go somewhere else, which would bring me to, where do you think he would go? Like, the Raiders have, what is it? The Raiders have the 6th overall pick, so they're probably not going to get a top quarterback. So
unlikely.
They go after Russell Wilson and try to reunite Pete Carroll with Russell Wilson?
I mean, I guess that makes perfect sense, but how did they part ways in the first place? Does anybody know that? I'm not really sure.
I mean, I think there was a little friction there, I think. And so that could maybe cause a problem, but I haven't heard too much out of it. So there's possibility.
It's certainly like a good idea, right?
It would seem like a good idea. I mean, they know each other, obviously.
I think Tom Brady might like that. Tom Brady would probably be okay with that.
Yeah. Pete Carroll, look, he's a good hire. I just feel like he should have gone to the Cowboys, a better team. And Brian Schottenheimer, forget about it. That was just a hot mess.
Well, do you think Pete went there because of Tom? A new coach for Tom Brady? Doesn't Tom Brady own stock in the Raiders?
Yeah, he's got stock in the Raiders. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that's the only reason. It's like you go where the greatness is. You follow the talent, whether it's on the field or in the GM room. Yeah.
Yeah, Pete Carroll may have done that. I mean, there's a high possibility. The guy's 2 years old. I mean, he's not a young man. So you're not in it for the long haul with him. I mean, he's got maybe 2 or 3 years in him tops. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, if he's got nothing going on at home, then he's got all the time in the world, right? As long as he's healthy. I think of 72, and I just think I couldn't possibly be here at that time.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, Steve-O, I like your avatar there. Who did that for you?
Interesting. Something different. So that Kirk Cousins will not be an Atlanta Falcon next year. He's not going to take a backup role. Michael Penix Jr. is going to play in the starting role. So they're going to have to eat a lot of money. So that makes me think maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers can get in on it because they do have cap room. The Cleveland Browns have cap room. They do pick second overall. So they can get a Shedeur Sanders or a Cam Ward, very possible. Or if they want to trade, Sam Darnold is going to be available because J.J. McCarthy is definitely going to start in Minnesota. So you have a few quarterbacks that are available, including Aaron Rodgers. We don't know if he's going to be a Jet. Aaron Glenn is a no-nonsense guy. We got a lot of jumbled quarterbacks over here who are average and above average, maybe, on their best days. That could help a team.
So you don't think Kirk Cousins would be a backup anywhere? You don't think he would do that?
No, I don't think.
What about a Bridge?
A Bridge, yes, but not a backup quarterback. Not a backup.
And so if Cincinnati does, if Cleveland does take a quarterback, you don't think that they could possibly take on another disaster like Deshaun Watson, get rid of Watson, bring in Kirk Cousins to bridge their quarterback, or possibly even be there
that
just in
possible.
case?
Yeah, I mean, look, if they were to bring in Kirk Cousins, they're probably going to have to pay some money for it. But if they bring in a rookie as well, he can learn behind Kirk Cousins. I don't know. Steve was saying
do we want him learning
Arnold right off the bat.
That's another thing, because that's what happened with Jimmy G with us. We got stuck re-signing him, and Baker Tampa got stuck. I thought got stuck re-signing Baker, but that happened to work out. So it could just be one of those things where, like, all right, the guy was MVP candidate. How do we move on from him and just give it to some rookie who hasn't really done anything? I don't know if he took any snaps last year. Did he take any snaps? Did McCarthy? I think I saw him personally in one game for like a few plays. That's all I saw of McCarthy. Did he get any work last year?
I'm not even sure, man. No,
yeah, I don't think it was much. I think he came in a game that I was watching. It wasn't even against the Niners, I don't think, and he got some work in. But, there was nothing there that was like off the charts, like, oh, wow, we got to get this guy on the field immediately.
Yeah, no, there was one game, I forgot who it was against, but he did play in like the beginning fourth quarter all the way through to the end.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Don't remember who it was, but that's all right. The Giants have the third pick. I don't know if they're going to try to move up to get a quarterback because they have nothing at quarterback right now. And if Brian Daboll wants to keep his job, he's going to have to find a quarterback.
Well, what I'm seeing in mock drafts already, I don't know if you got to do one yet, but I've seen 3 quarterbacks go first. Now, that seems crazy to me because from what I understand, the QBs aren't even that good. Not even like Ward and Sanders are not really like top 3 players in this draft, I don't think.
Right. In this draft, they are, but normally they would not be. Yeah, right.
That's a big risk, man. I want the sure thing. I don't care what position it is. I cannot just take a quarterback because I need a quarterback. That seems super risky to me. But I understand the move, though. I understand it.
I get it, too. I mean, look, you need the quarterback. You need the head coach. I'm trying to see a little mock draft over here if I can as well, just to get up on it. And the 49ers looking to take somebody out of Missouri. We'll get to that in a little bit. But the Titans, they pick first, and they have Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. So they want to move on from that. So Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders is definitely going to one of them.
I mean, from what I heard, and it may have been last night, and I don't know if the source was right, but I heard he's not going. There's no way they're going to let him go to Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders. That's one thing.
Probably not.
So that
what
only
about Tennessee though? Did you think about that?
Yeah, if they want to move up, can they move up, or are they already picking down there?
Tennessee's got number 1 pick.
Tennessee has the number 1 pick.
And Cleveland's got
I forgot the Giants. I forgot the Giants blew it, winning that game. I forgot.
Yeah, the Giants blew it. They got number 3 overall, so that's kind of like a tricky position right there.
Yeah, man, I can see it. I can see it. I can see Tennessee taking.
But you know what?
Quarterback.
If Travis Hunter were to fall to them, then that's pretty damn good because Travis Hunter could play both ways, and he plays both ways great. Not that in the NFL he would do that often, but he is freaking amazing. So
yeah, I mean, somebody spoke about that. Yeah, somebody brought that up, and they're like, he's probably
Okay.
going to play most of the time as the cornerback, sometimes as the wide receiver. He can't go on the field for 3 plays and 3, 6, 7 plays back, and So it's going to be one of those things. He's going to be like I guess, a gadget guy, right? Is that fair? Is that fair?
I suppose so. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. It depends how the coaches want to use him. But
it's not going to be easy for him. I mean, only a couple players have done that. Dion and Bo Jackson are the only 2 people that I know of. I'm sure it may have been tried by other people, but very rare.
Yeah, it is very rare. But he does have that rare skill set. I think that, in my opinion, Travis Hunter should come in as a D-back because that's a more important position than wide receiver. I think wide receivers these days are like a dime a dozen. Cornerbacks, not so much. So you need that man-to-man coverage, take away half of the field. Yeah, I would go with Travis Hunter, but I would sprinkle him in on offense. No doubt about it. He can handle it, especially while he's young for the first 4 years of his career.
Absolutely. It's probably not going to last forever, so get it, do it while you can. Yeah, those joints, they're going to feel it if he continues to do so. And you're right.
You think Aaron Rodgers is going to stay with the Jets, or will he?
Who's going to stay with the Jets?
Do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to stay with the Jets, or do you think Aaron Rodgers? Do you think he'll stay with the Jets, or do you think he'll move on and retire, or go to another team?
I don't think he's ready to retire. He had that little stretch where he wanted to do what Brady did, and that's not going to happen. So I think maybe if he's lucky, he's got 1 year left in him. I don't think the Jets want him after the last 2 seasons they had him. I just don't think that's going to happen. The Jets have their own issues all the time. Why sign on Rodgers for a 3rd year where the guy's probably going to get hurt again in the first 4 or 5 games?
Yeah, that would be a shame. So maybe they do something in the draft. They draft 7th overall. Maybe they can move up. Maybe somebody falls to them. Maybe like a Jackson Dart. I don't know, like somebody like that from Ole Miss. I don't know. I don't watch college that much, but maybe quarterbacks can fall. And if you really like somebody like the Giants, like Daniel Jones so much and totally overdrafted for him, that was a mistake. But you know what? If you can hit on it, you can hit on it. Now,
so I don't know.
We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. Go ahead.
I don't know if it's real or not, but we talked about it, I think, for a little while, how the GM for the Giants, his son was in the room when they were deciding to let go of Barkley, and he's like, don't do that. And then they just showed another clip of the same kid. And again, I don't know if this is real these days. I just don't know. But apparently he was in the room again when they were going to draft someone. And he's like, well, if you're going to let go of Saquon, why don't you draft up and take Jaden Daniels? You're only the coach once. That was his son. And he's smarter than the entire Giants organization.
How old's his son?
I don't know if that's real, though. That's what I've been seeing.
Well, okay, that's interesting. That's the first time I'm hearing it. I don't know. It could be a meme. I don't know about that.
It could be something made up, but I saw the video of it. Yeah.
Well, okay, all right. Well, like I said, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl in a little bit, but we're going to go more in depth next week when Leroy Butler joins us. I can't wait. Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion Leroy Butler.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
The inventor of the Lambeau Leap.
Yeah, he's got an incredible story.
Yeah,
I can't wait for everyone to actually know that, because I didn't know that at first. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, there's a lot of good shit. Yeah, no doubt. We'll talk about that with him. But if the Chiefs go ahead and win this Super Bowl, and let's just assume that they do, that would be 3 in a row. That would be all-time action right there. As I got to get back to the comment section over here. Let's try to pay attention to the music for a second. But I don't know what that's all about. Now we're in the middle of the screen. Anyway, Papa
J did ask real quick. Where do you think Rodgers will go if he doesn't return to the Jets? Do you have anybody in mind?
I think Pittsburgh is a possibility. Maybe you bridge him for Justin Fields. I don't know, but you're right. Where else would he go? I don't know where he would fit. Does he come into like Minnesota perhaps and follow really in Brett Favre's footsteps? Go from the Jets to Minnesota to close out your career because J.J. McCarthy may not be ready. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. Maybe Jacksonville. Wow. Trevor Lawrence is all banked up.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of places where he can go. I personally don't like him. I don't like his attitude, and I think he will bring down the entire atmosphere and like mood of the team. That's just my opinion.
Man, no doubt, man. I don't like it that Well, we'll see. But the Chiefs ranking all time, they would win 3 in a row. They would have what? Patrick Mahomes would have 4 Super Bowls by now, and he's 29 years old.
Mhm.
You know, a buddy of mine put Andy Reid up against Bill Belichick and made some, compelling arguments that in the NFC, he did really well and gone to 5 straight NFC championships, including a Super Bowl, with a lot less than what Bill Belichick had, especially on defense. But Belichick did win 6 rings throughout his career, and they were spread out, and he did manage to, despite not drafting well, getting the most out of his players. And that's why they won so much, along with Tom Brady, of course. So, where Reid ranks, he's a top probably 3 of all time. I don't know if he surpasses Bill Belichick, though.
I mean, I don't know. These new guys, like, that's cool. I know that they've done a lot recently and are very good. But Bill Belichick without Tom Brady, garbage person. And I have the stats to prove it if anybody wants it. So he's terrible without Parcells or without Brady. That's unfair in a way to say, but it's true. And I'd give it all to Reid, because Reid was always good. Even in Philly, he just couldn't get those last playoff games done.
Yeah.
But for me, real quick, Joe Gibbs is my number 1 head coach of all time, even above Bill Walsh. He won a bunch of Super Bowls. He did it with different teams and different quarterbacks, which is really what you want. Because when you win every Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes, it's Patrick Mahomes. When you win every Super Bowl with Tom Brady, it's Tom Brady. That's just the way I feel about it.
Hey, Papa J chiming in, so is Steve-O. A-Rod's at the Raiders, but never mind, he would probably give Pete Carroll a heart attack, he says. And Steve-O, I believe he's talking about Bill Belichick when he says 8 rings altogether when he was an assistant with the Giants.
Yeah, with the Giants. Yeah.
No doubt about it. So, yeah, I mean,
I just bring that up because, if Parcells was with him at one point and Tom Brady was with him at another point. I'm not really taking anything away from him. I'm just letting people know that that's what it is. And when you take those 2 guys out of his equation, his numbers are very bad, period.
Now, Papa J agreeing with you, saying that Joe Gibbs was definitely underrated head coach. Yeah, I mean, Joe Gibbs, didn't he bring 3 different quarterbacks with Washington to the Super Bowl? You had Joe Theismann.
I think he also won with another team.
Joe Gibbs had Joe Theismann against the Raiders, I think, or maybe it was the Dolphins. I'm not really sure. But Joe Theismann, he had, oh my God, why am I blanking right now? He had Mark Rippon in 1992, and then Doug Williams, who they won with over Denver, who was the first black quarterback to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And I could have swore he also won another one for another team. That could be wrong. I could be wrong. But.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I think he tried it. He came back to Washington like 15 years after he had, quote unquote, retired. But I don't think they had that sort of success. Success is Patrick Mahomes and what he's doing. And if he wins this game and has another MVP performance, I mean, he's done what nobody else has ever done, which is win 3 in a row. We know how amazing he is. They were 15-2 this year, really 15-1. They didn't even try that last game. Would he surpass Brady already in your mind?
I mean, I'd put him right there next to him. Right next to him if he wins this one. Because, I mean, he still has won. I mean, Tom still won 6. And it was
7.
spread out.
He won 7.
7.
Because when you include Tampa.
When he went to Tampa, he got the last one. So 7. So no, absolutely not. He's not better. But I mean, at the rate that he's doing it, at the speed that he's doing it. And you said that you thought New England had better teams. I think Kansas City has better teams than Brady. I'm saying, I feel like the backups for Mahomes.
No, it was Philadelphia. Philadelphia was a comparison in the early 2000s, when they kept going to NFC championships, they kept losing. And then the year they finally went, they lost to the Patriots again, of all teams. So,
of course,
there you go. There you go. But we'll see where they do rank all time. I want to try to do a little exercise with you, and I haven't really gone over it yet in my head. So this is kind of off the top of my head. The top 10 players in the Super Bowl. So it could be from either team. So who would you say is number 1 most important in the Super Bowl? The Eagles have a little problem at center right now. Maybe it's going to be Landon Dickerson. It might be Cam Jurgens. It depends who's healthy. So that may factor into Saquon's running game. So maybe that's really important. You can go with Patrick Mahomes. You can go with the running game. But I don't know. Where would you go? I may go with Saquon to begin with. I would think that he would be the number one player.
I'm going to agree with you on that. So we can move on from number one.
All right.
I think it's hands down number one player.
Okay.
Agreed.
And I think the second best overall player would probably be Mahomes in this case, because he makes magic, with anybody. It's quite amazing what he does. So I'm going to go with Mahomes right there.
Yeah, Mahomes makes dreams come true.
Steve-O saying Chiefs not winning. Next subject. Laugh out loud.
I read that really quick. I thought Papa Jay said it. I read that really fast.
And Steve-O agrees with me. He says Barkley's the MVP. Yes, he is, but he's not going to get the damn award because they keep freaking giving it to quarterbacks. But I agree with you. He is the MVP.
Ooh, you still don't think Saquon's going to win MVP outright?
I don't think he's going to win MVP. No, they don't give it to running backs. They just don't.
That screws up my NFL honors.
It screws up my NFL honors too. I mean, I put him at. We'll get to it, but my NFL honors, I put him at MVP also.
No, Mahomes was not a Pro Bowler, but most important in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Most important, probably in this game, I would go with the Eagles' offensive line to make sure that they're healthy, especially at the center position. That's really important when you consider Jalen Hurts and the tush push, which, by the way, I fucking hate. I hate the tush push. It's so annoying, and Philadelphia does it great. Buffalo tried it against Kansas City and failed time and time again.
Well, Kansas City has been working on that tush push defense all year. All year, yes. I guarantee it. All year.
Yeah, and it paid off.
Because they knew it would be probably Detroit or the Eagles or the Niners had they remained healthy. So I'm sure they prepared for all those teams.
They prepared. The Chiefs always prepared. He's saying Mahomes wasn't even a Pro Bowler? No, because Burrow, Allen, and Lamar had much better numbers than him this year. But you know what? The Chiefs were 15-1 under Patrick Mahomes, and that's really all that freaking matters.
In a down year.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe like 4th and 5th on this list. I would think probably is Chris Jones is somewhere around 4th. You got to bat down balls, get to the quarterback. He's amazing. Chris Jones, very underrated. I would put him high up there. And then I think Trent McDuffie and AJ Brown is interchangeable because Trent McDuffie is going to be probably guarding AJ Brown, shadowing him in that man defense that they play. And they do, Steve Spagnuolo mixes it up, and God, he's amazing with the blitzes and the different schemes he got. So can't wait to see what he pulls out in this game. It's going to be great, and how Philadelphia reacts. But I think that matchup right there makes him like a 5-6.
As good as the Philly defense is, I have to talk about Karlaftis, right? This guy's nuts.
Absolutely.
It's
a great call right there.
Sacks, am I correct? He led the entire league in sacks, didn't he?
Is
that right?
He might be right. I know that he doesn't have any sacks in the postseason, and that's pissing him off. So he's probably fired up to go get one, or 2 or 3 or 4. Yeah, and he might. He really might. So we'll see.
And then so we included the Philly O-line was just like one guy, right? That was like 3 or 4, something like that. Then we got,
I'm kind of lumping him in over there.
Yeah, I agree. The O-line should be included as one. Here's what I want to talk about. Another important is the O-line for Kansas City on the left side. Even though they moved Tooney over there to the left tackle position, that's not his position, even though I'm sure he can handle it. You just never know what's going to happen or how they try and exploit that side. They're going to have to try and exploit that side.
Just like Bill Belichick's team. That's why it's a great comparison. Bill Belichick's teams were so well prepared for every game, and they knew it was a different game every time. The Chiefs do the same exact thing. They know week to week we have a different game, a different opponent. We have to prepare differently. We're going to throw the ball more. We're going to run the ball more. Whatever it's going to be. So, that's why, Andy Reid is just up there. He's got to be top 3 in my opinion. Really what he did with the, we're not going to go over it again, but, with the Eagles 5 straight. Now he's got Mahomes. Now he's winning Super Bowls. I mean, what more do you want from the guy?
Another guy we've seen is Kelsey is probably going to be pretty important, and locking him down is going to very important for the defense of Philly. If Philly can lock down Kelsey for the entire game, you saw how we could have beat them. We could have beat them that same way. Once Dre Greenlaw got hurt, they were celebrating on the Kansas City Chiefs sideline, knowing that game was back. It was their game again.
No doubt.
So you contain him.
Real important. Yeah, he's around 8, 9 on this list, no doubt, because in important games he shows up. Mahomes finds him, and he just runs like these weird routes. He runs like all sorts. He just finds a spot on the field and he gets open. He doesn't even run a route. Freaking absolutely amazing. Yeah, Wilks to the Jets. Aaron Glenn hired Steve Wilks to be his D coordinator.
And I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah, Steve Wilks is good. We had him for a hot minute over there. It didn't work out as well.
No, we forced him to run a defense that he wasn't prepared to run, and he was just a pawn there, a pawn, just like a placeholder. So.
I think the other tight end is also really important, Dallas Goedert. It's hard to cover him. We saw what he did to that Rams defender. He kept stiff-arming him all the way down the field. He's got that kind of thing in him, and you're going to need a bailout. They got to be ready for the blitz. Spagnuolo is going to blitz. Not every time. I'm not saying that. You just got to be ready for that and slide your protection and do what you have to do. And Goddard is going to be open coming off the line on that Y pop is what they like to call it. So throw the ball to him. He's really important in this game. I see Goddard having maybe 6, 7, 8 catches. So I would take over in the prop bet with him.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think the Rams forgot about him last year. Goddard was not, a big factor in the first half of this season. He was barely targeted at all. Now he's a factor. And so you got to look for that.
Yes.
And probably, I don't know what number we're on, but make sure, I wanted to make sure that we say is the kicker for the Eagles. I think the pressure is on because Butker's back and he's been solid. So
I like that. And you know what? That brings up a good point. Like going into the game, we're going to talk about it in a minute. I want to do the NFL honors first, but that's a good point. Like how much of the field goal kicker is going to be used because these teams know that the offense is so good that they're going to score touchdowns. It'll be really interesting.
Also, there'll be a lot of going on fourth down with these guys.
Yes, I agree. No doubt about it.
So that kicker position in general may be being faded out in the NFL altogether. I see a lot of rugby players coming over, and those guys can kick.
Yeah,
so you don't need no kicker.
Yo, if anybody, you guys know me, I want kicking out of it. Forget about the kickoff. Let them throw it off. No problem. They can throw it off with the quarterback. Easy peasy, 1, 2, 3.
Don't you remember the XFL? That was my favorite. They put the ball at the 50-yard line. XFL guy started on one side. The other opponent started on this side. They raced to the ball from the goal.
Crazy.
That's awesome.
It's like steal the bacon. Steal the bacon in gym class.
Like I just felt like that was one of the things from the XFL, the original XFL. That was one of the things that we should have taken from them. Should have stole that shit.
All right.
That's like some dodgeball competition in the beginning of the game. You put your 2 fastest players on the goal line, they rush that ball.
Yeah.
And when it bounces around, it's still alive. Those 2 guys are still gonna. It could be so fun.
Yeah, the NFL is good. They got their dodgeball game coming up. They're doing some of the Pro Bowl activity tonight, and then whatever their flag football game. Not really that exciting. If I'm not doing anything, if it's raining outside, then maybe I'll go ahead and watch it. But other than that, no, I'm not really interested.
I'll catch the highlights of the dodgeball game.
Yeah, man. So you hinted before. I mean, we're going to get to the NFL honors now. I like Saquon Barkley to be the MVP now. He is one of 5 candidates along with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Jared Goff.
Yeah, wow, Jared Goff. Oh, that bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, he shouldn't be in there. I'm not really sure about that one so much.
But it is what it is. Yeah.
Who do you like? Is it Barkley for you?
So we're talking MVP? This first
MVP.
I'm going to go Saquon. It has to be Saquon. Saquon.
Do you
Barkley
really think they're going to give it to him? You think they would give it to him?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, when Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards, he didn't even get it.
I think that if they I know he didn't actually do it, but if they keep in mind the fact that he was held out of the last game and could have blown away that record, I think it's something to think about. And it's also, it's about now that Allen is out and Mahomes didn't have an incredible year and Burrow's team, they didn't make the playoffs. And
bro, I agree with you. You know I agree with you. I've been preaching Saquon. I picked the Eagles in the beginning of the year. I knew he was going to be that kind of game-changing player. He is that unbelievable. So I'll go with him there. So
well, you know what? Neither one of us chose the Super Bowl like alone, but together we got the teams because I picked the Chiefs to go. You picked the Eagles, and they're going.
So. As a team, we made it. There you go. So Joe Burrow's up for a lot of awards, including Offensive Player of the Year, along with his teammate Jamar Chase, Lamar, Derrick Henry, and Saquon again.
Yeah. Okay.
And speaking of Saquon, Steve-O right here, I want to get your point on this. When the extra game would have an asterisk, but you know what? He had 34 less carries than Eric Dickerson, who holds the all-time record. So that's something to think about. In 34 more carries, he would break the record.
Which is incredible. Just incredible. When you know how good Eric Dickerson was his first 2 years, he was so friggin' good. To be anywhere near that for any player that comes after is incredible. Period.
And think about what he did. He sat out against the Giants. He didn't want to embarrass them. He could have got another 50, 60 yards in that game alone, and then maybe go for the record, play the first half of the last game. But whatever, that guy is amazing, unbelievable. But as far as Offensive Player of the Year, give me Joe Burrow. He put up those unbelievable numbers. I love it. I mean, no playoffs, but that's why he's not my MVP. He's not the most valuable player, but Offensive Player of the Year, he almost threw for 5,000 yards. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but
almost 5,000 yards, 43 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's awesome. That's
you like that? You going with Burrow too?
Yeah, that's also my guy. Burrow at offensive player and Saquon at MVP. That's what I got.
Yeah. Burrow was my preseason MVP, and he's not going to win it. I know that, but I'm proud that he's in there still, even so.
Mine was CJ Stroud, so we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll leave that one alone. We'll push that to the side.
Poor guy.
Oh, man. So Defensive Player of the Year, Zach Bond. Yes, he's a special teamer from New Orleans who came over to Philly and is now calling the defense. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't believe he made it on the list, to be honest with you.
He shouldn't have. Jalen Carter should have been in there, in my opinion.
I agree. I looked at Bond's stats and I just didn't see it. I don't get it.
Yeah. So I eliminate him immediately. So do you. Again, he's not a bad player at all. We're not saying that, but he doesn't deserve to be a top 5 candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. The other guys, Myles Garrett is a beast. Trey Hendrickson up there in sacks again, always leads the league or is up there with TJ Watt, Patrick Surtain, and TJ Watt. So, I said Patrick Surtain a couple of weeks ago. I'm not 100% sure, but just because he locked down so well, but he didn't have a lot of interceptions. But again, teams stayed away from him. They wouldn't throw to his side that much. And
I mean, did he give up 1 touchdown all year? Is that kind of what it is why he's up there?
Maybe.
I think it's possible.
Yeah,
that's very possible.
Yeah, but I wouldn't give it to Bourne. Myles Garrett didn't really pop out too much this year. Trey Hendrickson only with the sacks, and TJ Watt, mostly with the sacks too. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't love the Defensive Player of the Year category at all, to be honest with you. But if I have to pick one, the only reason I'm going to do it is because I think of that as being the most valuable player on your team at this point, and I'd have to give it to Garrett. He had 14 and a half sacks. Hendrickson only had 11 and a half sacks.
Right.
Surtain had no interceptions or 1 or 2, and Cooper DeJean was another. Isn't he another guy on there? He has no interceptions.
Yeah, no interceptions.
I looked at everybody's stats who was in the category, and I had to go with Garrett strictly on the sacks.
I remember when Xavier Howard about 3 years ago for the Dolphins had 10 interceptions, and everybody thought, oh my God, he's the best cornerback in the league. Not true. Not true. Steve-O, what does he got here? Kelsey and Whitworth made Goodell given Offensive Lineman Award, probably going to be called the Shield. Very interesting.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Hey, why not? The Offensive Lineman, they need love.
That.
That's going for Philly. Let's just say what's up to David McNiner. Let's
David.
Fucking go, 49ers.
Is that what that F is?
Gotta be. Gotta be. What else could it be? I'll say it for him.
Friggin. In New Jersey, it's friggin.
So, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Look, Jaden Daniels is going to win the award. I don't think that we need to really waste our breath, but Brock Bowers did break Mike Ditka's record. He was great with Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, and, a laundry bag full of shit. But Malik Neighbors also over 100 catches this year with Daniel Jones and Danny DeVito. I mean, give me a freaking break over there.
Right.
It's amazing.
All 4.5 feet of Danny DeVito. I mean,
yeah, right.
Here's the thing. I love Neighbors. I had him on my team, just like I had Jaden Daniels on my team, and I would love to give it to Malik Neighbors, except Jaden Daniels.
I made the argument, and you were there. You heard it, that RG3 had just as good an MVP rookie season as Jaden Daniels did. He really did, and did it in one game less. They had almost the same amount of rushing yards and passing yards. He ran for one more touchdown, and Jalen Hurts did a little bit more through the air and everything like that. But RG3 had his team in that first game against Seattle. They were up 14-0, and he was already had a busted leg. Seattle got him sacked on one play. That was it. Over, out. They end up losing the game. So RG3, he was that valuable. No doubt about it.
Yeah, but that's how quick it happened. Yeah, that's how quick it can go down.
Yep.
It happened to Purdy. Happened to Purdy. He was like MVP talks, threw 3 interceptions in a game, never spoke about him again.
What do you guys think out there? Papa J, David McNair, Steve-O, all you guys. Do you think that we're going to sign Brock Purdy, or is it time to move on, or do we try to work out a deal where we don't have to pay him too much? I'll let you guys answer that as we move on to Defensive Rookie of the Year. You know I called Jared Verse from the beginning. I'm going to stick with him. But they got his teammate in there, Braden Fisk, also Chop Robinson, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean. Who do you like?
Well, that was it, right? So I looked at the DeJean, same thing. He just didn't have any interceptions. And as good as he played, and he decleated Derrick Henry, I think. Did you see that when he decleated him, picked him up and pile drived him like Captain Insano?
Yes, he did.
Very impressive, and everybody likes a white cornerback, but but no, for defensive player, and I know you're going to pick Verse, and so I wanted to challenge you. Braden Fisk may be better.
He might have had better numbers. You're right. Jared Verse was a linebacker / defensive end, so he did go out in coverage a little bit, and he had different assignments. But you're right, Braden Fisk, he had a huge year. If they give it to him, I'm all right with that.
Jared Verse, that was a great pick. The foresight was incredible, and I would say that you were right all season until I looked at Fisk's stats.
Yeah, Fisk, he's got better stats.
Snuck in under the radar there because we were so focused on Jared, and so I finally got to look at Fisk's stats, and while they're very similar, he just had 4 more sacks. I think that's the only difference, really. Like, it was just that close. I think Jared had more...
he was more impactful, I think.
Yeah.
I think so. Well, we got some answers back. Dave McDonough about Brock Purdy. Work out a deal with Purdy. I'm not waiting 6+ seasons for Shanahan to find another good quarterback. Totally freaking hear you. No doubt. And also Steve-O. Jed said $55 million last year. My dog's buddy said $58 million a year. No way. I mean, look, if we're going to keep him and we want to have any semblance of a championship team, keep a couple of the guys that we got and be able to pay other players in the next year, 2 or 3, and keep that championship window open.
Yeah.
You can't go any more than 50, and I wouldn't even go 50. I would go 40. And Brock Purdy's got to understand that. You're not a top quarterback in the NFL. You're not going to reset the market. That's a bunch of bullshit. I hate that Dak reset the market. He's clearly not the best quarterback in the NFL. He's really good. He may be a top 10 guy, but he's around 9 or 10. So give me a freaking break. He makes more money than Patrick Mahomes. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's not even the same situation with like what happened with the Prince, Trevor Lawrence, right? Trevor Lawrence got a huge contract, and nobody could believe it. But the whole point is that you got to pay them the money to want to play in Jacksonville. So that's the sway. Dak didn't have that issue. They just overpaid him for never doing anything in the postseason. I thought that was crazy. I like to trade guys or give them, try and move guys when they're worth something. I want young guys, I want picks, and I want to compete every year. And so if I can get rid of like Brandon Ayuk, if I can get rid of Nick Bosa, I know that sounds crazy. If I can get rid of Debo, those guys, as a coach, I would. Because if I can get a lot for them, I want it.
All right. I like it. Steve-O making a good point. $80 million in cap space when it's all said and done. I like that. And Papa J's saying the 3-year, $180 million guaranteed. Or 120 guaranteed. 3 years for 18 million is what? Is that like 60?
Well, that'd be 60 million, but the 120 guaranteed is 40 million.
Man,
Maybe the
all that money. I don't want to give him all
like
that.
giving
damn
him
money.
more than
That's too
50
much.
though. I'm with you. I don't think we need to give him more than 50 based on
No.
what his measurables are and what he's done. I think 50 is plenty. I've seen people say that the Niners are going to make him the highest paid quarterback in football.
That's bullshit. No freaking way. He's shown this year that he's nowhere near as good without his top players in. And you have to be that good. You just have to. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not going to compare him to Patrick Mahomes, obviously, but
They're not even in the
Mahomes got
same.
all his-
Yeah, they're not peers. They're not peers.
Yeah, all those receivers out, and give me a freaking break, man. McNaught is saying the salary cap goes up, not going to be hard for
Yeah,
Purdy.
no,
and
I
Dwayne.
see.
All
I
right.
can see them doing that. That's a classic Niner move, and it's a classic move that you do with quarterbacks. I just don't think it's necessary. But I mean, if we don't have him, I just don't know where we go.
I don't know either. Well, Coach of the Year, we got Dan Quinn, Kevin O'Connell, Dan Campbell, Sean Payton, Andy Reid, all great candidates. You know, when I think about Dan Campbell and Andy Reid having their teams with 15 wins, how could you not give it to one of them? But I like Dan Quinn for turning that organization completely around. So
Yeah.
I want to give it to him, but I'm not mad if they go with Dan Campbell or Andy Reid because they both had great years. And Dan Campbell dealing with all those injuries on defense, a few on offense, losing Montgomery toward the end of the year, whatever. Excuse me. That deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, you were all over that all year too. By the way, the Dan Quinn. I liked Jim Harbaugh. I still thought he had a great year, but he didn't finish it.
No.
But Quinn did finish it. You know, he beat the Lions in the playoffs, and I know that's not regular season, right? But Dan Quinn eliminated Campbell, didn't he? Didn't the Redskins beat the Lions? Am I missing?
Redskins beat the Lions. Yeah, you're right. That's right. I don't know why that took me a minute to figure that out.
Yeah,
It just happened a
'cause it-
couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but still, a couple weeks ago. My God, you know how many things I forgot last week already?
What does McKnight have to say about Purdy? He's really backing him up. Purdy just finished his 5th year. It is really his 5th year already. Took Tom Brady 5 and Josh Allen 6 to become. You're not really comparing him to fucking Tom Brady and Josh Allen. That's crazy.
No. I think he's just saying that it took them a while to get where Purdy literally already has had an incredible season. He had actually, this is a fact. He had one of the best seasons in the NFL, period. I think it's like top 5 or top 6 out of any quarterback in the NFL ever. That's a fact.
I'm not saying he's not a good player. He is, but I just don't want to pay him that much money and have to deal with that problem where we can't bring in other guys because clearly we need it. You know, we didn't
I'm definitely
come
with
anywhere
you.
near the playoffs. We got to get our depth chart going. Offensive line, defensive line. That's where we got to work.
Yeah. And look, as much as I love Brock, I know he was a victim, not in a bad way, but a victim of circumstance where he was just on a stacked team with CMC. The defense was doing really well, and we were rolling, and he was part of that. Now, he wasn't part of that in the way that Jimmy Garoppolo was because we used to win in spite of his horrible play, but Brock actually makes us a better team. That's the difference.
All right. And Papa J weighing in. I do love that avatar. If Brock's agent can't make more than $55 million, then he will never have another client ever again. Maybe he gets $55 million. My God,
That's possible. Yeah,
it is possible. Why not?
I actually told Steve-O last year, in the beginning of last year, $65 million. I bet you I'm going to be the closest.
Oh my God, 65. That's great. That's more than everybody. You're gonna make him the highest paid quarterback in the league. It doesn't make any sense. He's not even.
I know it doesn't make sense, but we did it with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Do we really have to go through the quarterbacks that are better than him right now? I mean, do we really? I mean, all right.
I think we can name about 10 guys.
I'm gonna give it to you real quick. Joe Burrow. Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Jared Goff.
Yeah. Sorry,
Baker
guys. Yeah.
Baker Mayfield.
Right now, yeah, I would pick Baker over Brock right now. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Again, sorry.
So would I. Lamar Jackson.
Hell yeah.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, sir.
So that's 5 right there. How about, here's a tricky one, Matt Stafford.
I don't like Matt Stafford. He's a slippery dude. He's quite mobile for a guy who isn't mobile, but I still don't want him. No, I'm going Brock over him. I'm going Brock over Stafford. Because I'll
Right.
tell you what, if you gave Brock Purdy, Cooper Kupp, Puka peak,
Puka
I think
Nacua, yeah.
he's having an incredible fucking season.
All right. Well, let's go to Josh Allen. Clearly, no.
Yeah,
obviously.
absolutely.
What about Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, man. If you asked me if I'm doing a fantasy draft and I'm the Niners and I pick first, I'm taking Jaden Daniels.
Okay. And how about Jordan Love?
Nah, I don't like Jordan Love.
I'm not a big fan of him
That's a
either.
personal thing. That's a personal thing. I don't like the interceptions. I would rather have Purdy throwing those interceptions than Love. Let's put it that way.
I'm not a fan of him either. I'm with you on that one. So
But Jalen Hurts, I would. Jalen Hurts, I would.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts, yeah, so would I, no doubt. He's there. Tua, I don't know. That's kind of a tough one. That's
If the guy isn't concussed, then yeah, I like him. He can air that ball out pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so there you go. There's like maybe 10 quarterbacks ahead of him, and you're going to pay him most of them.
Yeah, Brock is probably
Whatever.
top 12 guy. Nothing wrong with that. Top third of the
What are you
league. It's pretty good.
Steve-O's saying no Daniels, huh? All right.
Ooh.
And Goof, no Baker either.
Wow.
All
Yeah,
right.
they know. I mean, Steve-O knows. I mean, he should know. I'm a big Baker fan. Always been. Always stuck up for the guy. Not sure why. It's just a weird thing. Always liked him.
I think he proved himself this year. I really do. I think he proved to the world
I
that
think
he
the
can play.
defense wasn't bad, but I think it could have been a little better.
Yeah. Last category, real quick, and then we'll jump into the game. We'll touch on last week, and then we'll do a little preview. But
Yeah,
full
you're right,
preview-
David.
Full preview with Leroy Butler next week. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that. So get a
Yeah.
little background music going on over here. It always makes the tune sound a little bit better. So we got the comeback player of the year, Joe Burrow, nominated again. Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, Christian Gonzalez, DeMar Hamlin. All really good candidates right there, Kenny.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go Sam Darnold. I mean, you're kidding yourself. If that's not the comeback player of the fucking year, you're kidding me, right?
Yeah, he put up great numbers. And Burrow, he was hurt last year, so I understand why he's
Yeah,
in
he
there.
still
He
played
put up
10
amazing
games and he's
numbers.
Joe Burrow. So I'm not going to give him a comeback player, especially when he's probably getting MVP or the other one.
Yeah, to me, comeback player is a guy who didn't do well the prior year and comes in and does well. Not really necessarily a guy who's hurt. So I'm with you on that one. That's why J.K. Dobbins, he deserved love, but then he got hurt toward the end of the year.
Right, that was his thing, literally his Achilles heel. Not that it was his Achilles heel, but his Achilles heel is his injury. And so
It's a
as
Greek
long as he
tragedy.
lasted all year.
It is.
Yeah.
It's Greek tragedy, my friend. There's no doubt about it.
And when they had him, San Diego was doing great. When they lost him for a little while, they struggled. And when he came back not 100%, they struggled.
Yeah, that's what happened. Dick McKnight or Jared Goof, not Goff, just had 4 turnovers against the Commies. Purdy has 1 turnover in 6 playoff games.
Yeah, he's
I hear
fantastic.
you, man.
Purdy's a great playoff quarterback. There's no
He
doubt
doesn't
about
make
that.
many mistakes. He does not make many mistakes. I'll give that to you. He doesn't turn
And
the
you
ball
know,
over.
he's not
That's
the only
good.
quarterback who blew it in the playoffs. There's a lot of quarterbacks dropped
Yeah,
the ball
man.
this year.
But they didn't come anywhere near the playoffs, and he was healthy all year long. And I hear that argument for Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's not elite, Chris Canty says on Unsportsmanlike. I don't know why I'm giving them credit right now, but Chris Canty's like, Joe Burrow's not elite. He's a great player. Well, he is
Wow.
elite. He
Why
is
don't you
elite.
ask Chase? Why don't you ask Jamar Chase if he's elite?
Yeah, really. All those numbers he's putting up. T. Higgins. I mean, Chase Brown, who stepped up for him. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Their defense sucked this year. You can't put that on him. They had to keep scoring 30-plus points to even
That's
begin
exactly
the
it.
game. Yeah. So that's what happened right there. So I don't know.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
We're going to touch on the Super Bowl in a second over here. But last week, I feel, it sucks, man. I was watching Washington on that first drive, and they're moving. They go for it on 4th down a couple of times. They hit it. And then it's 4th and 3 inside the 15, and they decide to kick a field goal. I'm like, what are you doing? You kept going for it. What, all of a sudden, you're not going to go for it now?
Yeah, they forgot it was an important game, I guess.
Oh, man. And then the next play is Saquon Barkley for the Eagles running for a touchdown. Like, what a gut punch, man. You got to be kidding me. Oh,
Yeah. Oh man, that's what happens when if you're gonna go for it, it could blow up in your face big time, and in that case, it did.
Yeah. And Daniels, he didn't play poor. He just didn't play up to his best ability in that game. He missed a couple of throws. Zach Ertz was huge. He had 11 catches, man. He was great.
Yeah.
But I think the key in that game was the fact that the Eagles did not have to blitz. They were getting home with 4 guys, had 7 guys in coverage. It was easier for them because Jalen Carter and company were getting through. So I think that really made the game right there.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, when you can send 4 guys and get pressure, that's kind of what the Niners bank on every time, and they didn't have that this year.
Yep. Jordan Davis, he got no doubt, man. So, there's some guys out there that are contributing. Philly has got the best defense in the league. Again, we mentioned it, that they went from 30th to 1st under Vic Fangio. And I'm not even surprised because we know how good a defensive coach he is. What's Steve-O saying over you? What's he got? Let's put this up. Did you guys hear a smart guy and a smart ass going to have Leroy Butler on? Wonder what topics.
Topics are going to be awesome. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, don't go look it up because you'll ruin it. Show up for the show and find out. He's got an incredible story. To the fact that the man, the Lambeau leap, and if you find out what his background is, it's just incredible. It's really a great story. Yeah. We've had some incredible guests this year, man. So,
man, been awesome. Between George.
Speaking of our old guests, I just saw George Teague had a show last night, just breaking down defense and shit. It was awesome.
Yeah. He's good at his job. I like to think that I brought him into the podcasting world.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I brought him out of his shell. I'm like, yeah, man, you got this shit. But
hell yeah.
Yeah, what's also amazing about that game, bro? Final thought: Philly scores 55 points, only 1 touchdown pass. So they rushed. But 7 touchdowns in that game they rushed for. What are you kidding me? They are, dude. This game is going to be tough, man, and it's a rematch, I know, from a couple of years ago, and Kansas City won by a hair, that pass interference, as we know, and then they went ahead and scored the touchdown. But, look, the Chiefs-Bills game, the Chiefs had not scored 30 points all year. They did it in this game because they had to. That's what I mean about this team. They do whatever they have to do to win. And, again, they won by 3 points at home. And that's a win, bottom line. And here they go again in the Super Bowl, and they're favored by 2 points over Philly.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's rigged or anything, but it's a great story. It's never happened before in the NFL.
Right.
The Chiefs are the Chiefs. They are the villain in our wrestling world here that we call the NFL. And that's the villain. That's the bad guy. And they keep winning, and it's your job to beat them. Stop complaining and fucking beat them.
Steve-O saying that they won by a field goal. Yeah, they did, but they still won the game. I mean, Patrick Mahomes put them in position to win that game, and Josh Allen did not come through. Spagnuolo's defense came through. Josh Allen had the ball with 3 minutes left. James Cook not on the field, don't know why. Couldn't get it done. All right, Spagnuolo dialing up the right blitzes at the right time. That Chiefs defense is freaking awesome. People don't realize that. It's all, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. Give me a freaking break. That defense is that good. So they have playmakers all over, and they showed up. A big part was when the Bills scored that touchdown to go up 22-21. If they would have got that 2-point conversion, maybe they go to overtime, Kenny.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Oh,
that's how quick it happens. And oh my God, and that reminds me of Andrews completely blowing it for the Ravens. And then here we are. Who's going to get blamed for it 10 years from now when you don't know the details of the game? Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, right. He threw an incomplete pass on a 2-point conversion. Well, watch the play. He threw it right there. And, to put this to bed, Josh Allen was bad under pressure. He was 1 of 8 for 4 yards passing when he was under pressure. That is some bad shit right there.
Yep. Yeah, man. This is when, all those stats and all those numbers, they can't mean anything on this day. It all has to be brand new, clean slate. Don't fuck up. As soon as you mess up the turnovers, and we've seen it, you're going to have turnovers. You're probably going to lose the game. It's that simple. No turnovers.
And you know what? The Eagles don't turn the ball over. The Chiefs rarely do. This is going to be another great game. They put on a great show for us 2 years ago, I think, again.
Yeah.
And again, Kansas City in the Super Bowl 4 out of 5 years. Just amazing what they're doing. And they can go down in history. All-time 3 Super Bowl wins. Right now, I don't know who I'm going to go with, but Philly has been fantastic running the football. Kansas City, they're mediocre against the run. They're not great. I know that they'll show up, and Spagnuolo will probably put 5 defensive linemen on there, and they're not really afraid of Jalen Hurts, but I think Jalen Hurts showed that you should be afraid of him. They have a very dynamic offense and a great defense. They're the one team that I think can contend with the Chiefs.
Yeah, they have a great offensive line, and that's always very helpful.
Yes. Yeah, and you know what? Kansas City moved Joe Tooney over to left tackle from his guard position. Philadelphia moving Landon Dickerson over to center from his left guard position for Cam Jurgens. They do what they got to do, and it works out. So push City, that's going to happen. We'll see how close they get to the goal line. I hate that damn play. Let's see if Kansas City can stop Philly from doing it the way they stopped Buffalo from doing it. I don't think so.
Yeah, adapt or die. I'm going with who I've been going with all year, and that's Fangio's defense and Saquon Barkley.
I love it.
And so I don't think you asked me, and that's okay. But assistant coach, Fangio. I'm with you. I think that's what you said, right?
You took the words out of my mouth. I haven't even said it yet, but he belongs.
Yeah, we started talking about it, but we didn't pick. But that's my guy.
Right. Steve-O says the Chiefs by 13. I don't think they're going to win by that much.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah.
I might Eagles by 13. Steve-O says, make up your mind. Which one?
I think I'm going with the Eagles. I hope that they win. As much as I hate the Eagles, I hate Kansas City more, and I don't want them having a three-peat because then they'll be better than us, definitely.
Yeah, I can see Kansas City getting one-dimensional and the Eagles blitzing, getting to Patrick Mahomes maybe a little bit. Man, and I wonder if they're going to play that man coverage or that cover 2 shell because, Mahomes can make plays with his feet. And I feel like, between Cooper DeJean and Darius Slay, depending how healthy he is, and Quinyon Mitchell, depending how healthy he is, Reed Blankenship, these guys, they can defend on the back end. So, again, if you can just rush 4 and get home with Jalen Carter and them boys, that's great news. But I think you may have to blitz because the run, they're really not going to be afraid of. Although Kareem Hunt showed that he is the guy now over Pacheco.
Yeah, he should, and he always was. He was just hurt, right?
Yeah, Pacheco was hurt.
I think Pacheco was the one who was hurt, and he was the one who was supposed to come back and take the job.
Right,
Hunt never gave it up. Yeah, Hunt never gave it up.
Exactly.
And what's amazing is that I know that there were teams that needed running backs, and Kareem Hunt was just sitting there on waivers until the Chiefs needed him. Nobody thought Kareem Hunt had any talent, apparently.
They're amazing. They spot talent out from a telescope on Mars, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but it blows me away because last year you would have taken Hunt in a heartbeat if he was sitting there and nobody had him. You know what I mean? So it's just weird. Weird stuff.
Comes back to the team. It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
And it's also irritating that, whenever Niners go to the Chiefs, they win a Super Bowl. Like Umanura. Remember him? Umanura, I forgot his friggin' name already.
Of course. That 2011 NFC Championship haunts me, man, when the freaking Eli and the Giants came into our house in the NFC Championship. We should have beat them after we had beaten New Orleans on that amazing bootleg by Alex Smith and Vernon Davis with the touchdown. I'm sure you remember all that. That was great times, man. But
I love Vernon Davis.
Giants. Damn those freaking Giants. Did you know the Giants are the only team with a negative differential to win the Super Bowl, a negative point differential throughout the regular season to win it.
So they never had even a chance. They never
So typical. Unbelievable. All right,
you're going Giants. I swear to God, I know that they win those Super Bowls every once in a while, so they get to stick around. But the Giants and the Jets, I'm surprised are even in New York anymore. When you've got a team like Buffalo in real New York, no offense, I know you're from Long Island, but New York State.
Yes.
They should embrace that team, They should move on from the Giants and the Jets or give one of those teams to New Jersey.
Man,
and move on.
With you. Give right. You know what? I would like that if they gave one of them to New Jersey.
And I would think the Giants would be New Jersey. I know that
the Giants, you think?
Jersey Jets sounds better, but the Jets, I don't know. For some reason, I think the
They
Jets
both
always
sound
think of
good.
New York City. I guess because
Yeah.
because growing up in Jersey, the Giants were like everybody's team. So that's really what it might be.
Right,
Yeah.
they were because they had come before, and the Jets, they were an
86 and around
AFL
that, yeah.
team. Yeah, Jets were AFL, so not paying attention as much until they won the Super Bowl, and then everybody became Joe Namath fans and started wearing fur coats. I mean,
Yeah.
freaking unreal. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm going to pick yet in this game. My head tells me, yo, just stick with Kansas City. You got to pick the Chiefs. I mean, they don't lose games that they need to win. They always find ways, but Philadelphia is going to be their toughest matchup, no doubt. Tougher than the Bills, because I believe that Philly would have beat the Bills in the Super Bowl. And I was kind of hoping for that, even though I was really more hoping for Bills and Washington. I knew that wasn't going to happen. I think we both picked Chiefs and Eagles, right?
Yeah.
We both picked that. So that's man, I'm going to save my pick for next week because I got to think about this.
Hey, yeah,
But
you could do that.
it's offensive and defensive line. Who's got the better ones right there? Who's going to prevail? And I think that will say a lot going toward who wins the game. Turnovers. Again, Philly does not turn the ball over. And if they don't, they have a really, really good chance of winning this game. And maybe Kansas City does turn the ball over. Maybe Mahomes makes an errant pass. I don't know.
He's been known to, though. He really has.
Yeah, he could do that. He could do that. I mean, he's had quite a few interceptions this year. So it could be a possession game, and who's going to punt first may be the loser. I mean, really, it's going to be
that could be the difference right there. You just said it. Like maybe somebody returns a kick or something, just some weird missed tackle here or there, and then somebody runs it back, and that is the difference in the game, possibly.
Kenneth Gainwell in the open field, if he's going to be returning those punts, watch out. He can do it, man.
Was he? I think he got hurt last week, didn't he?
You know what he did? Let me see if he's playing.
I think he should be okay. Great, but
let me see.
I know that he wasn't returning kicks at some point, so they've been
you're
just
right.
giving him a test.
He's going in questionable, and they got that white boy, Will Shipley or whatever his name is. He's going to be, and he ran for over 100 yards, 122 yards on like 4 carries or whatever it was.
Yeah, and Spongy actually said, "Look out for Shipley, not for Gainwell." So he was right.
How about that? There you go, young man thinking smart.
Young Sponge.
Right there. Yeah, way to go. So, all right, you're going with Philly right now. I'm thinking Kansas City, but I'm reserving my pick for the show on Thursday. My final pick, my final score. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I know we're going to get a great Super Bowl. I know.
Yeah,
that.
mine's
It's gonna be a
tentative.
great game.
Tentative.
No
Philly.
blowout.
We'll see what happens.
No blowout in this game. No blowout,
No, I
right,
hope
Kenny?
not. That's terrible. No. Even when I was even as a Niner fan, watching them blow people out in the Super Bowl, not super fun. Not a fun watch.
It's not fun, no. Even though you know what,
the only good thing is that you don't have to be stressed out on Sunday. That's the only good thing.
In 1994, when Steve Young finally got, the quote unquote the monkey off his back with Joe Montana, I was very happy that he threw 6 touchdown passes and they won and they covered the spread, which was 19 points. 19 points. I'll never forget it because I couldn't bet money on that
Super Bowl.
I mean, it's crazy, man. And they covered unbelievable stuff.
I think that was the first Super Bowl party I had, that Super Bowl. And we got Domino's Pizza, and their mascot at the time was the Noid. Remember? Avoid the Noid?
Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely.
That's how long ago that fucking Super Bowl party was.
That's when Domino's Pizza was actually good. I don't know what
it was
the hell
actually
happened.
good. The box was cool, too. It was like a box was like Domino's.
I love it. Steve-O, McKnight, Papa J, everybody who chimed in, we appreciate it, man. We're going to be back next week, same time, with Leroy Butler, Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion, will tell us how it's done and how he did it. Can't wait for it, Kenny.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I have some good questions for him. He played with some great players.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And again, Super Bowl champion against the New England Patriots of all teams. Bill Parcells led team with Drew Bledsoe. They took him down pretty easily. Desmond Howard, I think he won the MVP of that game, right? Because he returned the kick. Or was it
funny? Yeah, that's funny. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting.
I was a big Desmond Howard fan, Michigan guy, right? Was he from Michigan
Yeah.
or Colorado? Michigan.
Michigan. He did the Heisman pose and everything.
Yeah.
Philly Special just jumping in at the very end over here. What's up, man?
Yeah,
we're
Spongy,
about
I
to
just
close
gave
it
you your
out.
props, buddy. I just said that you pointed out how Shipley was going to have a good game.
Yeah, man. Way to go on that one. I mean, they take out Saquon again. I mean, that's what they did throughout the year. He could have broke that record, man. Easily, he could have broke that record. But
That's very humble guy.
yeah, man. I mean,
He
that's
could
why
have went
he's
in there,
shit.
been petty, beat them, broken
Right.
the record, danced and sang and made a joke about it, but
Yeah.
he knew what was next. He knew what was
Yep.
coming next.
He wants to win a ring. That's what he wants. That's what's most important to him. Solidify himself in Canton in the Hall of Fame, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna be in Canton one day, me and you, for this show, bro. So Power
We'll do
32.
it live from Canton.
Yeah, that's right, baby. We're up, but we're out of here for now. Have a good one. Leroy Butler next week. Be there or be square.